So I've got a simple post coming up called, well, it's not called that on my post, but I'll call it here simply How to Build a Fortune. And it's very simple than this. If you want $1 million in 20 years, do you know what return you need to get on your investments per annum? So let's just say that you start off with, I don't know, you start off with a few $1,000s. And if you want to get to $1 million in 20 years, I think the number I used was $5,000 or $10,000. In fact, I can't remember now how much I started off with. I should have put that down. But anyway, if you start with $5,000 or $10,000, you want to get to $1 million in 20 years, you need to earn about 16% compounded return on your money. That means every year you need to earn 16% on your investments, and you need to reinvest every single penny of that, obviously tax-free. We're talking about after tax. Now, stocks in a 401k can conceivably do that if you get very lucky. It's 16% is a stretch because of fees. You should typically ask for 8 to 10% from stocks. So even $1 million in 20 years starting with small money is very difficult, which is why you need to keep putting money into your 401k. But if you want to earn that same $1 million and make sure it's worth $1 million in 20 years' time because of inflation, you actually need to earn 20.25%, slightly more than 4%, which is what inflation is running at. So in other words, by the time you get to 20 years' time, that $1 million will only be worth $500,000. So if you want to earn another $1 million to make sure it's worth $1 million in today's spending money, you actually need to get a compound return of 20.25% per annum. But $50,000 was the money we started at. I apologise. Now, if you have $50,000 and want to get to $5 million in 20 years, you now need to earn 26% compound return every single year on average. But if you have $50,000 to invest and want to get $5 million in, let me see, 10 years, you need to earn 59% compound return. And if you want to get to that $5 million in only 5 years, you need to earn 151% on your money. So the point I'm trying to make here is that in some respects, it's not the amount of money that you want to make that will drive your success or failure. It's the amount of time you want that amount of money in. So you can get to $1 million with a 20% return. You can get to $5 million with only a 26% return, a paltry 6% more. But if you want to halve the amount of time you get to a given number, you have to earn double the amount of interest. And if you want to halve it again, you have to triple that amount of interest, in fact 6 times from the original number. So you can see time has a huge impact because of the power of compounding. So let me give you some information that comes again from this book that I'll show you, Michael Masterson, and I've done some alterations here, and it's simply this, and I'll put this in an upcoming post on my website, so look out for it. But basically, if you're trying to work out what to invest in, if you want to get a certain rate of return, CDs will probably give you about 4%, and that only barely keeps up with inflation. Index funds might give you 8 to 12%. That's only maybe 4 to 8% over inflation. Stocks, the stocks themselves, without going through managed funds or index funds, and you buy them directly through a low-cost broker, might give you 15% if you choose the right stocks. Again, there are risks with doing that. If you invest in real estate together with stocks and have a balanced real estate and active stock, investment strategy, not necessarily trading, buying in and out, and choosing risky stocks. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about trying to choose value stocks that you think will rise over time and real estate that you think will rise over time. You might get your return up as high as 30% compound. And of course, you've got to use borrowed money and leverage, and that's what gives you that higher return. If you want to get a compound return rate of 45%, you've now got to start looking at investing in a whole mix of real estate with borrowing a lot of money, stocks with margin lending, and small businesses of your own or investing in other people's small businesses. That sort of combination can drive your returns, if you're successful, up to 45%, but of course increases your risks. And if you want to get returns over 50%, you've got no choice but to start your own business. So somebody asked the question, which is, to get high compound rates of return, do you need to have your own business? And the answer is absolutely yes, you do. Start your own business, online, offline. A business also might be developing property if you want to be in real estate, or buying and flipping real estate consistently and continuously, reinvesting that money that you have into more and more bigger deals. But watch out, the market could crash at any time and leave you high and dry. It could also be done in stocks by using options and speculating and trading in and out of stocks. And again, we've seen in 2007 and 2008 the risk of those sorts of strategies. But those are ways to drive very high incomes. I call those all businesses or speculating. People make money doing that all the time. It's how I made a lot of money. But you need to recognize there's risks that go along with that. So that's, in short, if you want to build a lot of money, more importantly, build that lot of money in a short space of time, you have no choice but to go high up on that scale and maybe even start your own business.